to start sharing anything that's in your heart to share, and if you don't know what, I'll start asking you questions.
Sounds very good.
All right.
I love this.
Where are you?
I'm originally from Baghdad. I'm originally from Iraq, Baghdad. I'm Assyrian, Christian. English is my third language. Arabic is my second language. Assyrian is my first language. During the invasion on Iraq, 2003, when U.S. Army started coming my area, they stopped by and they asked who can speak English because they couldn't carry on conversation with people, dialogue with people. They were able to connect only greetings, but to carry on conversation, they weren't able to. So they reached out to the people, and I was out with my friends, and I raised my hand. I said I can speak English, and very long story short, community did not like that. They saw that as a betrayal. And very, very long story short, in the end of 2003, we had to leave. We got a phone call. We had to leave. We left. I was in Syria for 6 years. I was only able to be there legally 12 months. That's kind of the immigration system. Only gives months and then renew once after the first 6 months of visit. And then I heard of UN through one of my colleagues. He had an interview there. I went to the interview with my buddy, being there for him. I talked to the security person, and he told me, you qualify to apply for a refugee. And I went in and I applied for a refugee. True. I was out of Syria in 2009. I was in Texas, in Houston. And that was in my early 20s. So I barely get in 21, being 21. I found out my family were able to get to the States in Idaho, so I moved to Idaho. And I helped them settle. Through that, I've reached out to do volunteer works for especially the agency who sponsored my family, who helped my family settle. And that was very interesting because I did a lot of good work and I have very good experience. Resettlement agencies for refugees, from medical care to education to employment to just social services. It was a good experience. However, U.S. Army reached out to the agency again for interpreters. I found out. I got interested to know why they're still needing interpreters. I got a first contract and a second contract, and I've heard U.S. intelligence are reaching out to U.S. Army for interpreters to certify to translate for them. Very interesting. So I went in. I think I got one contract, two contract, and I had to stop. If you ask me as a first-hand, U.S. war crimes were organized. I mean, that's me firsthand, from my experience, from working with them, living with them. This is my opinion. I do not need to prove that to any person. That's my opinion. I couldn't stay in the States. I couldn't stay in the state. When I dropped interpreting, I went to Alaska. I worked in fish cannery, and that was what I did after I dropped interpreting. But it was the States. It wasn't my job. It wasn't my work. So I cannot live in the States. I'm sorry. I can't live in the States. I came to Canada because I have family here. I didn't disclose to my family the level of sensitivity of my work. I mean, they knew it wasn't a secret. I wasn't the only interpreter. We were like 80 interpreters. It's not a secret that I've done that. It's not some, but they didn't know what they didn't know the detail. They didn't know what was about, what was the, anyway. So they thought I just need to get over myself, go back to the States. I'm eligible to be citizen in the States. Mindfully, heartfully, soulfully, I do not want that. So that's one of the issues I've been having here in Canada. And that's when I start seeing Canada suffering poverty. Poverty, it's induced. It's not money issue. We have money. What we're suffering is not poverty. What we're suffering, it's result of inhumanity. This is what, and this, it's not simple, but that's what it, to me, that's what it all goes down to. And I think we can see how that's happening. We can see how government's behavior induces that, how they leverage criminology. They give positivity to criminology. We can see criminal system getting all this positivity instead of justice, instead of law itself having that positivity. We want to justify, we want to excuse, we want to, yes, that's very true, but not when we cross the line from understanding, justifying, to leveraging criminology. So basically, I'm crossing from being associate to accomplice in my own world. I don't know if that makes any sense. Not long ago, I wrote, greed of this race have set cradle of civilizations on fire, igniting the globe. That's what I wrote.
What do you hope for?
I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong in however that possible. I really hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm not seeing the whole picture. I hope something out of nowhere is going to happen, change everything that will prove me that no, all this is just my ugly personal experience, not the actual reality of our race. I mean, of course I love the race, I'm not a hater, but that's the truth. Our greed, we're suffering this on a global scale.
If you are right, do you think there's hope?
If I am right, this is what has to happen. We need UN be supported in advocating for delivering on their obligations to stay kind and be candid and respectful, because this is maddening. It's not just sprinkle money, tab 20. I don't there's a whole bunch of, I'm sorry, that's good. It is good, but not good enough. Since I was a kid, I heard African kid starving to death, a Palestinian kid dying, Asian kid not even being born. We need UN members to deliver on their obligation without monetary barrier. No monetary barrier. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I've always looked up the West. Always looked up the West because we're still persecuted in Middle East. So when I hear U.S. is saying Iraqi freedom, what do you expect from a child to think? Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, so they say liberation and they start their liberation by shock and awe. I was a kid, and I heard my national security tumbles down to the ground. I heard it in my bones. They didn't have account for what I'm trying to say. They did not have a true account for civilians. Better yet, U.S. quotation. We got out of body count business. And U.S. quotation. That's a U.S. quotation. I can again reference, but no, I'm not gonna do it a one-man thing because it wasn't. That's U.S. quotation. We got out of body count business. So to them, we were business. I don't think there was a true account for civilians. They brought the war to our soil, paralyzed the country. I've been called crazy. I've been called psychotic. I've been called schizophrenic. I've been called all sort of names. And I know I'm not sane. I know I'm not sane. U.S. have robbed me of that. I got to hear you're a traitor. Multiple languages. My name is Sliwa, means cross. When I was in Syria, I worked 7:30 to 4:30, 5:30 to 1:30. Months and I crashed. One of my people close to me, he told me, he advised me, don't give up. You need to survive. So what I did is I've reached to the highest I can. And I put all my values, all my love, all my faith, all my care, my person, my everything. Put it up there. And I said, I will survive. And when I have peace to reflect, I'll reach out. I'll get all my values, all my... But here I am. Survive it, nonetheless, survive it.